So what was causing you to be separated from your family?
During my middle school years, I would say, when that was kind of when it started.
Yeah.
I was pretty depressed and like I had a lot of anxiety. I had one of my friends killed himself and I took that pretty hard.
When you were in
rough.
middle school?
Yeah, when I was in 8th grade.
Here we go, Lily. Thanks for... I could tell you're nervous. I could tell you're just a little nervous.
Yeah, just a little bit, but I'm
okay,
good.
Is it nervous because you don't know what questions I'm going to ask, or...
No, I'm just nervous.
You're just nervous all the time? Okay, I don't even know what questions I'm going to ask,
Okay.
but tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Lily. I'm from Colorado. Like, why I'm here?
Yeah.
I think mainly for like parent conflict. Like, I think I isolated from my parents for like a few years.
Yeah.
Also like drinking and smoking and just kind of getting into like the party atmosphere.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, like I did do like some drugs, but I wasn't really into like drugs, but just more of kind of like the party atmosphere.
Yeah.
I got like caught up in that.
So what was causing you to be separated from your family?
Well, so like during my middle school years, I would say, when that was kind of when it started.
Yeah.
I was pretty depressed and like I had a lot of anxiety, like a lot of anxiety.
Like right now.
Yeah. And yeah, I had one of my friends killed himself and I took that pretty hard.
When you were in
rough.
middle school?
Yeah, when I was in 8th grade. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I think why I started getting into drugs, because I started getting into drugs in like 9th grade, probably just like to escape like from anxiety. I think more of anxiety than depression, because I think during my middle school years, like I was really kind of immersed in like kind of just being depressed and like kind of just being down like all the time and kind of running with like the wrong crowd. And then I think high school, like when I got into high school, I was very like excited to like go into high school and kind of have a new like fresh start. And I think to an extent, like I did get a fresh start, but I think like I was still like drinking and smoking, and I kind of just started off from there and like kind of became like a lifestyle for me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, go back. I mean, do you remember the first thoughts that you had when you found out about your friend?
Yeah, I was very confused. I didn't really know what was going on at first.
Yeah.
I also remember like feeling really like uncomfortable like being around my family, like because I'm bad at kind of like showing my emotions around them and opening up. So I was very like uncomfortable kind of, and I didn't really know like how to feel. So yeah.
Do you couple that with the drugs and drinking and?
I think so. Yeah, I think I kind of don't really know how to show my emotions ever. And it's like a struggle for me, and I think I have a hard time like showing kind of like being vulnerable, especially like with my parents. And I think I just kind of wanted an escape, like so that I didn't have to deal with kind of the things that I was dealing with.
Why is that hard to be vulnerable? I mean, if you're torn up about a friend that's taken their life, why would you not want to show your emotions with them?
I think for me it was like a fear of judgment, because I was with a friend group that they're good people, but I was always very kind of anxious about what they would think of me, or kind of just how anyone was thinking of me, really. So I think maybe fear of judgment and fear of weakness, because I wanted people to like think that I was like strong and like capable. So, yeah.
So being strong is not showing emotion.
I mean, I've learned now that that's not always the case. I think for a long time, even kind of in my friend groups, I would try to seriously show that I was really strong and that I didn't need anybody's help, and that I could basically do everything on my own. But I think I've learned now from being here that obviously I was sent here, so something wasn't working out.
Wow.
And
what kind of crossed the line that made your parents go, okay, we're not doing this anymore? You got to go someplace.
I would say I was really honestly getting into like drinking and kind of just like going out all the time. Like I was constantly with my friends and kind of just in that atmosphere, and I don't think I really stopped and kind of took a breather and kind of I think during that time I just didn't really have a relationship with them.
Wow.
So
was it a shock when they said you're going to go someplace?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really?
I didn't know I was coming, so it was obviously a shock, and I cried for a long time. But yeah, it was definitely a big shock. But I think I'm like okay with being here now, and I've learned a lot of things, and I've only been here for like 4 months, 4.5 months.
Only 3 more years to go.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. You know, so you get here. How long did it take for that transition to start happening?
I would honestly maybe like 2 months. I think I remember like being in Old Lodge, and I was just kind of like I did everything I like needed to do, like all the chores and all that stuff. But I just was like really upset and kind of always crying, or just kind of always like in my head about something. And but I think after that I started opening up to like staff and my counselor, and even like my parents on phone calls, like to an extent, and I just kind of got more comfortable. And I definitely realized like there's a lot of like resources here that just kind of helped me see things that I would never have like been able to realize about myself if I hadn't have come here.
Was it your perception of your parents that you felt like you couldn't fall apart or be vulnerable in front of them, or was it the atmosphere that they created that wouldn't let you do that?
I think it could have been a mix of both. I think maybe the atmosphere that kind of was just created that I was really living in. Like my brother is a really like outstanding kid, and he's really good at sports and school, and and I struggle in school. Like I am not as motivated as him, and like I did sports for a really long time, but I kind of fell out of that too. So I just kind of felt like I wasn't like as good as him, or not even him really, but just kind of I feel like my self-worth just wasn't really there, and so I kind of put it into like drugs and alcohol.
Just as an escape?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, I mean, you're at odds with your parents. You have a friend that I don't know whether anybody ever gets over the loss of a friend like that. Do you think they do?
I think it's definitely gotten a lot easier, like especially just kind of, I feel like during that time I was really depressed, so it kind of just hit me in like a spot where it was just really hard to get out of. But I think it does get better. I think like I'll never forget kind of that time or that friend, but I think it definitely gets easier.
But I mean, you had a lot of stuff kind of piling up.
Oh yeah.
For it to get to a point. I mean, I would think that you would even be drinking more, smoking more, doing everything to kind of take a break from it. And at some point you got to go, oh, it's got to quit somewhere. You can't keep living like this, you know?
Yeah, and I definitely think if I wasn't sent here, I probably would not have found like that kind of urge to like stop or give myself a break from all those things I was doing. So.
Where do you think you'd be if you weren't here?
I think I would be probably in the same place, if not worse.
Wow.
And for me, like my mental health, I felt was pretty like good. Like I wasn't depressed kind of in more of my high school years. I definitely still had a lot of anxiety, but I think I was just smoking and drinking to kind of have fun and to just escape from everything because... Yeah.
Love your parents?
Yeah, I do.
For sure?
Yeah.
You think they love you?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little hard when they sent me here. I was very, very mad at them.
Yeah.
But I do know that they love me.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, look, thanks for coming in and
of course.
sharing your story. Kind of neat to hear what all's going on in your life. Well, thanks.
Thank you so much.
You bet.